Hey everyone, welcome back to this week's training breakdown. We are doing a workout at my home gym, and if you are like me and occasionally work out in your garage or in a warehouse space, you know the struggle on a cold day of getting going, feeling motivated, and getting warmed up. So here we go to start off on our warm-up. Not to mention, my shoulder is bugging me at the time of filming of this training. I've been going through some shoulder rehab injury stuff, and when you're cold and things feel cranky, man, it can be really, really tough to get going in the morning, in the afternoon, whenever you end up training. A warm-up is key. And getting blood moving is probably the most important thing. So choosing an exercise that is just low barrier to get you started, be it skiing on a skier, walking on a treadmill. I chose jumping rope in this warm-up because it felt good on my shoulders. It actually got a little blood flow and a little tension to those muscles in my shoulder. Plus, I can do single unders really well, and it gets my heart rate going and it warms up my body. You can see that we're all wearing cozy clothes. We've got jackets on. I highly encourage you, if you're in a cold environment, just layer up. Get really warm. Make sure that you're moving some blood. And for 5 to 10 minutes, just don't stop moving. What we chose were warm-up movements that were really focused on getting the shoulder and the upper, like the shoulder girdle and the upper body warmed up, because most of what today's session was going to involve was upper body pushing and pulling. Some scapular rotations or dumbbell external rotations is a great movement to get the rotator cuff prepped and to work on some internal rotation. I was doing a Powell raise where I was prone on the incline bench. That's a straight arm. That felt good on my shoulder. Again, because I'm dealing with some shoulder injury, recovery, rehab, that was the position that felt best for me. So a combination of some of these movements to get the shoulders going, plus some blood flow. Then you can start to see we'll start stripping off layers as we go in our training session, and that's a sign that we're getting prepped and warmed up. Now in Persist, my functional bodybuilding training program, we include Olympic lifting in our Perform track. Now this is for fun, for athleticism, for performance. If you don't love to do Olympic lifts, you don't have to do these sections in the Perform training track. I actually offer kettlebell alternatives sometimes or barbell pulling alternatives, but it's fun for me to still include Olympic lifts. The girls love to do it as well. I'm joined here by Shauna and Megan. You've seen them here on the channel. And one way that we are modifying our intensity on the Olympic lift is we've chosen the movement a muscle clean as opposed to a power clean or a full clean. A muscle clean is when you pull the bar through the waist area, you extend the hips, and then you never re-dip your body underneath the bar. It means you get one powerful hip extension to get the bar elevated up to your shoulder, and it will self-limit how much weight you can really lift. Now, doing some Olympic lifting has actually felt good on my shoulder, and working on some external rotation, internal to external rotation with my elbows moving around the bar has felt really nice. It's also helped me feel a little connected as I pull from the floor. So I chose this one. The girls were happy to participate as well, but this was a focused movement that would allow me to do some Olympic lifting, but not be so jarring on my shoulder as a power clean, where I'm catching heavier weights on my shoulder, or a snatch, where I'm actually having to get the bar overhead and receive with a straight arm. All right, next up was our upper body row. We were going to be doing a prone row where you lay flat on a bench and you pull the dumbbells up and out to your side. We chose a dumbbell prone row. You can do this with a barbell, but I like the dumbbells because when you're doing prone rows on a bench like this, if you're using a barbell that isn't contoured or bent, if it's a straight bar, you'll end up hitting the bench before you really reach full range of motion or a full scapular retraction. So with dumbbells, you can get the dumbbells a little bit higher, bigger range of motion. And the key with the mechanics of this particular movement are that you want to set the bench height such that you can get a full stretch at the bottom. You can almost relax your shoulder blades forward, protract the shoulder blades so that you're stretched, and then when you pull your shoulders back and row, you're really including all of the upper back muscles, lats, rhomboids, teres, muscles that you really want to be training. It really covers a lot of ground on your upper back. The way that we were going to build intensity on this was we were going to do 3 building sets for sets of 10 to 12 reps, and then one top set where you really push for 10 to 12 reps. This should take you to failure for 10 to 12 reps. So that's your 4th set. And then we would do one more set, a 5th set, where you try and match that same effort with the dumbbells or the weight from the previous 4th set, And if you do it properly, your fourth set is going to completely take you to failure, which means your next set, you will not likely be able to hit the same reps. So in my case, I did a top set, I believe at 80 pounds for this, for 10 reps. Then on my next set, I did as many reps as I could with the 80s, which I actually only think I got 6 reps or 7 reps. And then I dropped back down to the 70s to complete the rest of my 10 to 12 reps. So that's the intensity focus here. We were taking turns, and in between, as a superset, we were doing some behind the neck or wide grip style dumbbell presses. Now, these were not really a strength training movement that we were doing for intensity. As I mentioned already, I've been dealing with some shoulder pain, and this position of shoulder external rotation has been a trouble area for me. So I wanted to put myself in that position with a light weight and just practice going through range of motion. Something that has always worked well for me when I'm rehabilitating injuries or pain points is get myself into the position that's problematic and then find a weight, a tension, a load that I can perform a range of motion through that trouble area or that pain area and keep the pain to a 3 out of 10 or less. So in this case, I grabbed probably 10-pound dumbbells and performed this wide grip, almost behind the neck dumbbell style press. And that allowed me pain-free or almost pain-free to work through a range of motion that's been troubled and now add some strength and some blood flow to it to enhance and accelerate the healing process. So now we've completed some muscle cleans. And because I didn't mention it, on the muscle cleans, we did 3 reps every minute on the minute for approximately 10 minutes. It was like 10 sets of 3 at moderate weights, just building up slowly. Maybe the last set felt kind of hard, but a total of 30 working reps through those 10 minutes of every minute on the minute. Then, of course, we did our prone rows. We built up to that top set, heavy set, and then we tried to repeat it on a 5th set. And if you couldn't make it to the same number, you just dropped the weights down and finished out your reps. Now, we're doing a strength balance superset. Strength balance, to me, it helps me understand that the intention of this superset is less about maximal intensity and more about high quality positions, focusing on getting tension in the right muscles. So this strength balance superset is a way for us to say, okay, we're going to be lifting weights, but we're going to use weights to train through longer ranges at joints. So length and strength movements. This is what these strength balance supersets are. So for the strength balance superset, we were doing a dumbbell pullover and an incline alternating kettlebell press. I like both of these because they really challenge the shoulder range of motion in a couple different ways, in flexion and extension. For the kettlebell incline press, I have found that because of the way the kettlebell sits on the forearm, where the load is, it's really easy to get a deep range of motion at the side of your body. Plus, that slight incline to the body actually allows for a bit more shoulder extension. With the dumbbell pullover, this is a movement that now we have a loaded shoulder flexion. And as that weight pulls our arm overhead and opens up our shoulder joint, you can get a great stretch through your lats, even through your triceps and your thoracic spine. So as long as you don't load these too heavy and you really focus on those joint ranges at the bottom of each rep, you can really get great mobility and you can strengthen those positions so that you remain really robust in the shoulder. You still get some great strength training and hypertrophy benefits, and you'll avoid breakdown in the future from just constantly pounding on heavy weights with shortened ranges of motion. Now, Megan had to stop short in training. She had to get to some client work. So instead of sending her out right after the superset without a finisher, I told her to do a 3-minute AMRAP of incline banded tricep extensions. She did that while Shauna and I finished with a superset of weighted overhead dumbbell tricep extension, and superset that with an isometric end range of motion tricep stretch. Now, I'll talk about the differences here, but because Megan was short on time, I said, let's do 3 minutes of continuous work in this one particular movement pattern to just overload with high reps, more of like a density finisher on the triceps, and basically take her to failure multiple times within that 3 minutes. Sean and I had a little bit more time, so we implemented the superset that we had planned on doing, which was an overhead dumbbell tricep extension right into an overhead tricep stretch end range of motion isometric. I really like using the overhead dumbbell tricep extension. That stretched position of the tricep at the shoulder joint, along with the extension of the elbow, seems to give a really great stimulus to my tricep, especially on days where I've also done dumbbell pullovers. So the combination of those two always leads to a really great pump and soreness in my triceps in the days that follow, which is one indicator that I got a really good stimulus on that muscle to grow or to get stronger. I'm also experimenting with Shauna with this combination of doing contractions on a muscle right into an end range stretch where we're pushing into the wall and performing an isometric contraction. So it was about 10 to 15 reps of a single arm tricep extension into a 30-second isometric of the tricep at that end range. We performed 2 sets on each arm, which took us mostly to failure on each one, and that concluded the training session. And so that wraps up the training breakdown for today. Thank you for joining me. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please drop your comments below about what you'd like to see from our training breakdowns in the future. I love to provide you with information about why we're doing what we're doing in the gym so that you can enhance your training experience with functional bodybuilding.
It's one unique, one special vibe.
Ah! Oh my God. Feels like this skin is like melting off on this side. That's what it feels like. And now I look like this. It's heavy.